I mean, one of the things that we see all the time is that when things go wrong, and people just don't think about this maybe intuitively, but when things go wrong, usually the training team is one of the first phone calls that gets made, right? There's some sort of problem. I've told this story before, but we were on site with Maersk, our customer, and they got a very urgent phone call, had to interrupt our meeting because one of their ships had run aground. And so when that happens, obviously, law enforcement and emergency services and all this stuff are getting involved, and there's tons of paperwork, but they needed to check all the training records and certifications of everybody that was on that ship and everybody that loaded that ship and all that type of thing as within the first hour of this happening. And so training teams get put under enormous pressure. Imagine if you had to go out and dig out Excel files or, run into some paper filing cabinet somewhere, whatever. For luckily they had Administrate as a TMS already put in place, and it was just a few minutes and the data was all up to date, and that was that. But that is kind of one of those things where you talk about risk. We have financial services customers, and they might get sued, and they have to figure out who got trained on what products and all kinds of stuff. And this is a huge topic that is usually kind of not thought about as like a first class reason to buy something.
Yeah, audit readiness usually doesn't hit the top five of your things you think about every day, but it's really important. And it's not just in, Maersk, from a shipping standpoint, but it's really any industry that has, some danger to it.
Yeah.
And so, just look at the news here in the last, month with aviation travel, every one of those immediately after every one of those accidents that's happened, they're doing exactly what you said. They're going back to the pilots, they're going back to the maintenance, they're going back to the records to be able to have to pull this for that immediate audit. And that time, it's for an emergency. But the conversely to that, then there's the regular audits that go inside, these regulated industries all the time. So having that single source and being able to eliminate the hands-on, because that's where errors always. The minute that you have to start transposing data from one spreadsheet to another, or getting humans involved at all is, especially with a consolidation of data like this, that's where all the errors come in, and where the risk starts increasing for sure.